history. You hear about this and you read about that. I don't want to look at Grumpy Cat. This is how to watch TV. What's that I hear? You hear the lost finale. It's not your fault that you can't see what we see. This is how to watch TV. On Comeuppance Network. This is how to watch TV. On Comeuppance Network. This is how to watch TV.
The Leftovers with Joel and Jeremy. My name's Joel.
I'm Jeremy. We're brought to you by Comeuppance Network and this beautiful weather that we're sitting outside trying to enjoy it. You can check out all of our social media sites at thishishowtowatchtv.com. I'm going to put my feet up, so if you see my bare feet, just deal with it.
No, they don't. You don't even see the table.
Okay. But anyway, we're here, Leftovers, episode 104, 304.
304. G'day, Melbourne. Melbourne, right? That's how they say burn. Melbourne. I don't think they say like Melbourne.
In Australia?
Yes.
I don't even know if that's in Australia. I'm not even going to do that.
Yeah, don't do the accent. That's not ever helpful.
Yeah, well, you did an English accent for like 2.5 years.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was helpful, though. It caused many comedies. So in this episode, the synopsis is Kevin and Nora travel to Australia, where she continues to track down the masterminds of an elaborate con, while she catches a glimpse of an unexpected face from the past. Or while he catches a glimpse of an unexpected face from the past, forcing him to confront the traumatic events of 3 years earlier. That was 3 years ago?
What?
The stuff...
Yeah, it said 3 years later.
Oh, it did say 3 years later, didn't it?
At the very, like, that first episode, didn't it?
Okay.
Right after the drone strike?
Damn, so Nora and Kevin have been...
They were together for 3 years, living there for 3 years. That was like, that's why there was such a jump in what everybody was doing.
Right.
Kevin had a giant fucking beard. He's the fucking police chief.
Right.
What's her name? And
Lori and John.
Lori and John
Their
are together. We've only seen his daughter once, so we really don't know that she's been
I don't
doing.
think we're going to see them
Jill?
anymore. I don't think we'll see Jill or Tommy anymore. Tommy seems to be coping.
Why wouldn't we see him anymore? He was in... Oh, because he didn't go with them to Australia.
Right. Well, but I don't know that we're coming back from Australia. Even if we do, fair enough. But I don't think we will, considering literally the entire cast is there of all the quote-unquote important people left. John, Lori... I mean, John and Lori aren't there. Shit. Kevin Sr., Kevin, Nora. I don't know. Maybe it's not. Matt. Oh, shit. That's next episode. Yeah, 5. I'm trying not to blend that in there.
Yeah, we did an okay job of it last time.
Right. But, okay, yeah. Well, I don't know. I don't know that we're coming back to a place where we're going to see Jill anymore. I think that was it. I think her funny little, this is the last time I'm ever going to see you, huh?
You know what? That was probably a little bit of foreshadowing there, right there, too, then.
Yeah.
So
the last time I'm ever going to see you, yeah. And then Tommy, he seems like he's doing well.
Well, yeah, but he just killed the guy.
Yeah, but he had to. He protected his dad.
Oh, I wasn't saying it like it was a horrible thing. I was just saying it like he just like that's going to affect you one way or another, even if it was like a lawful killing.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like I don't like.
I don't know if it will affect him in the same way as like the sudden departures did. You know, like he's coping with that. I think that's what they're still
totally different thing.
Right. Everybody that's fucked up right now is reeling from the sudden departures still.
Almost 7 years later, still, because it's still. There's still, I mean, okay, if we lived in that world.
Yeah.
And we were left behind.
Okay.
Okay.
Who went?
Doesn't matter.
Oh, it matters.
What?
Just kidding. I said who went.
Let's not even get, that's a whole other discussion. Let's not even do that. But I was just saying, if that happened.
Right.
I don't give a fuck how long, 10 years, 20 years.
Right.
You'd still be waiting for something else to happen.
Yeah, some
because
sort
of the fact that it fucking
event.
Happened.
Yeah, some sort of bookending
without any
event.
explanation. Still, however many years later, they probably still couldn't explain it.
Oh, they haven't, clearly.
No.
I mean, these people are, and I'm starting to come to the realization that Nora was going to go in. Like, if they let her,
I think so too.
She was going for it.
To either just be vaporized or just take the chance, I guess.
Right.
Which being vaporized is 90% probably what's happening.
Yes.
They're not sending people to the other side.
or wherever they are, or what, you know. I mean, there were a bunch of allusions to that in this episode. I don't know.
Allusions to what? Where
Where they went, you know, John saying, I can't communicate with, I can't make a connection with those that have been suddenly departed, you know. You know, going.
Well, that was because his whole shtick is bullshit anyway, though.
Right.
That's
why he can't communicate with them.
What's his name's was real, wasn't it?
Isaac. We've talked about that. I think so.
He had the real gift. He wasn't doing it with a person. What do you call that? What did you call that? Isn't there a name for that scam?
Well, I don't know. It's sort of like psychic. I mean, it's in the same ballpark as that.
Yeah, but I think there's a name for that scam.
Yeah, no, I'm not sure.
Anyway, go ahead.
Did you notice that Evie is this season's Patty? Did that connect?
The way that she's popping up to Kevin like that? Yeah. That was so weird. So weird. And I was just like...
What, her being on the TV?
Well, that and just that whole thing, him chasing her down and all that shit, it was a...
Well, because when I watched it the first time, it was like they made it seem like it really was Evie. You know what I mean? Like, by the time he got to the Dharma Library, you know, with the overhead shot, by the time he got there, though, she's like, I know him. She knew him from the alley. But we were led to believe, the first watch, that Evie is coming out now. Like, she's confessing that she's Evie. Does that make sense?
I have no idea.
The first time I watched the episode, I thought it actually was Evie. I didn't know that it was going to be somebody else that he was projecting Evie onto. So I thought it was Evie, and she's like, "Oh, I do know him." When he went up to the desk and he's like, "Can you just fucking get her, please?" And she's like, "Ding ding." He's acting weird, you know. And then the security guard came over to get him. And then Danya comes out and says, I do know him.
You know why?
She meant from the fucking alley when he chased her down earlier.
No, she meant Lori called her.
No, I get that, but I was just thinking
do that.
Oh, to say that she knew him too? Okay, I was just thinking...
Because she was like, you can't... Because her rule was you can't tell somebody that's having a mass delusion that they're in a mass delusion.
Right, okay.
You know what I mean? Like,
to just kind of lead him along.
Yes.
Then. Okay, I guess that makes sense
ease him into, like, letting him figuring out on his own.
I was just trying to figure out why she would say that the first time, and it was like, oh, well, it is Evie. She's saying, I know him from before in Jarden. But it just was like, well, she could be saying it just literally like, yeah, I know the guy. He fucking chased me down the alley and yelled at me like a psycho. You know, I know him. I don't know him.
No, I think it was
maybe
like,
it was just, that makes more sense.
I think it was just Lori, yeah. That's how I took it.
Fuck, dude, there's so much with the Lori thing. Like...
What do you mean?
Well, okay, so Lori lies to him about the photo, and that's along those same lines. That's
that was because of her rule.
She didn't want to break the delusion. Okay, so she accuses him of running away, and then asks if Nora and he and Nora are okay. Now their shit's all fucked up from the airport on. I mean, not that it hasn't been prior to that, but they get to the airport and they ask, "Are you two together?" And then it flashes to their two IDs, which show that they have different last names still.
Right.
It's been 3 years, and they were together for a year or two before that.
But they didn't get married.
But they've not gotten married. Like, they're not... And then the way Nora kind of just ditched him, he was an afterthought. She didn't even consider giving him the 10 grand, which made the most fucking sense out of anything I've heard in the whole episode.
It was like, why didn't you just give me half of it?
Yeah, why didn't you just give it to me? But, I mean, the way he was kind of dead expression through all this stuff, I think he was starting to realize it.
That she was going to do it?
Well, I don't... Did she tell him about the procedure? Or about the machine?
I don't think till after that, until he confronted her in the hotel room when they got there. I think then she told him everything that was happening.
Because prior to that, she was just saying it was DSD related.
I'm pretty sure that she was honest with him at that point when he confronted her and asked her about the whole thing
at the
hotel room when they got there.
Right, but they said they agreed they would never lie to each other, and that's literally all they've been doing since we last saw them.
Right.
You know, they
with the bag over his head and
they just keep lying to each other about everything. I mean, she's just not being forthright. So like it was sort of always coming. You know, I think
The fact that they're splitting up, or what?
yeah, okay, so there's the changing table thing, or there's a little bathroom scene where they do it in the airport.
Yeah.
Did you see how they zoomed in on the baby icon on the
Yeah.
baby changing table afterwards? She's totally pregnant.
Okay.
I mean, they even mentioned her having an uterine device, or whatever the fucking term is, IUD.
Oh, you're right.
So
Okay.
that's to prevent her from getting pregnant. I can't be pregnant.
That's too-
She's definitely
okay,
fucking
those-
pregnant.
Okay, just off subject a little bit. Those two, like, what are they, acronyms? IUD and IED are a little too fucking close to each other and too far apart in meaning.
Right.
I mean, come on.
Right.
IED is an improvised explosive device, and an IUD, I don't know what it
Like
stands
an
for, but that means
Interuterine
like a female,
or something. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, come on, we got like come up with something different. There,
We
guys,
did
come
a
on.
different acronym. Can we get a new acronym, please?
She's got an IED. She's got a what?
Okay, so
back on.
so
Sorry.
then they do it there. Kevin looked kind of dead-eyed, I think, because he's realizing there. Then they get on the fucking plane, and she lays out exactly what's wrong with their relationship. Like, she used it as an excuse. You know, she was just like, oh, let's see. What the fuck did she say about it? Oh,
Like on the
she just
plane?
said it was toxic and codependent, and they're better off alone. You know, and
Right.
I was like, yeah, that's
That's
sort of right.
Yes, absolutely.
But the
right.
way
You know-
she said
you know
it,
who,
and he was just like, oh.
Jenna said the same thing when we were watching that episode. She when she said that, Jenna was like, right,
Right.
right.
Yeah, that's pretty much
Yeah.
it. Let's see. Her saying, I'll just see you on the other side. I thought that was kind of a clever little line when they were at the airport.
Yeah.
And then, I was trying to figure out why she went through the metal detector twice. Because obviously she was going to say, oh, I forgot something, and then go back through again. But what was the point of getting caught the first time? Why not just walk through without the watch on?
Divert attention, maybe. Take the attention to the watch.
Yeah, I
Set the metal
guess.
detector off, and you're like, oh, I forgot my watch.
And then
they're
when
like,
it
oh, that's
doesn't-
what it was, and then it goes and
But
goes
they
off.
would have just let her walk right through, wouldn't they have? If she
Maybe.
had gone through, I don't know. It was weird. It struck me as odd. But then I figured out what she was doing. Obviously, she
Yeah.
was taking the money. But so I did like how they,
She had it all strapped to her. So you wouldn't get away with that now, not with the things they have at the airport now, where you got to put your hands up in the air and it like X-rays you.
Well, that's what she was avoiding. She has the gold, the world pass or some bullshit.
Yes,
So she gets to skip that
TSA
part of the
pre-approval,
TSA
yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
So she knows that, and that's why she didn't want to wait with Kevin, and that's why he
Right.
immediately knew she was smuggling something.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah, because he asked her what are you smuggling.
right. Yeah, but when she mentioned the toxic, codependent shit, I think that's kind of what triggered the psychotic break for Kevin.
Yeah.
Because I think
Yeah,
this episode is almost...
It started to go downhill after that, didn't it?
This episode is almost showing
Had he-
us that season 2's stuff was a psychotic break as well.
Had he
and that
seen
Laurie's right.
Evie?
He hadn't seen Evie at this point.
So, okay, so like, but that all ties into the what theory now that none of this was like he never came back from the dead. That this was all just
There
Like
are
a-
things about people being being dead for 45 minutes and then being brought back, being revived.
yeah. But how do you
somehow,
explain the fucking bullet hole to the chest?
Maybe it literally just missed everything. You know, maybe it's one of those things where it hit.
So
the
maybe that's
exact
what we're gonna
point,
find out. Like that's gonna be one of the big reveals at the end.
is that he
he's-
never died.
That when he fell asleep, like the bathtub thing and all the International Assassin episode was all just mass delusion.
I mean,
inside
the
his head.
the only redeeming quality that has left is the fact that he talked to his dad. And that his dad said he saw the chicken, which meant him, potentially.
What do you mean
know?
redeeming quality?
The only thing that brings it back to their head that it could have been real is the
Was
fact
the
that he
fact
saw his
spoke
dad.
to his dad in there.
Yeah. And if his dad remembers that, even if he remembers him as a chicken,
Huh.
you know, then maybe there is something to it. I don't know. It's tough because a lot of everything is still pointing towards Laurie's right and Kevin is just delusional. And he's having a psychotic break after a traumatic thing.
Well, if that was the case,
What's potentially a breakup now he
what-
sees coming.
if that's the case, if he is just having a psychotic break, then the whole book of fucking Kevin didn't help with that.
Right, that's feeding the delusion.
Right.
So in a way, that goes against what Lori wants to do. She wants to feed the delusion. In that case, it was almost like it was, I don't know, making it worse by carrying it on. You know, whereas she was saying almost to carry it on, to push the delusion forward with the Evie stuff. It's weird that it was kind of fucking with him there.
Right.
So, okay, so
I mean, like, okay.
did he read the book, do you think? Or do you think he just knew what happened when Nora
he read
asked
it.
him? I don't know. He started skimming through it after that. Because I thought that at the time, but he knew what happened. She goes, and then the little girl was sitting on the well, and then what? And then he flashed to him doing it in his brain, pushing her down, so he's like, he pushed her. And she goes, Jesus, where do you come up with this stuff, Kevin? I mean, come on. You can't just drop a Jesus in there. And yeah, his brain, that's where he came up with it. Because his head was telling him all that stuff happened. I don't know. So I think... they called... Now, the way she fucking ran
you know
to that
what?
phone...
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay. If all this turns out to be mass delusion,
Yeah.
there is no Messiah.
Right.
There is no explanation religiously or otherwise for the departure. Then Kevin's story might be along the lines as just as tragic as John Locke's.
In the sense that he eventually doesn't, it doesn't
There's
become
no
anything.
purpose. It's just...
Yeah, that
You know,
I think that's almost legitimately what's happening to everybody.
Like, John Locke died hanging from a, like, you know what I mean? Like, his character died there, you know what I mean? Like, in the hotel room after Ben murdered him, right?
Right.
Like, that was it. That was the end of John Locke.
Right.
For Lost.
Even though he was about to hang himself. And then,
Yes.
But still, he was... And Kevin has tried to kill himself, hasn't he? With the jumping in the ravine and then it...
Several times, yeah. So
The
what
bag over
I'm
the
just saying
head.
would be really, like, that would be a tragic story, just like John Locke.
Right, if we think he's our hero or he's the guy that's going to come
Right.
through in the end and it ends up being, no. Like, he ends up in a psych ward like his dad. Could you stop trying to sneak closer and
JJ.
closer, please?
All right, dude. Go
Like
back
it's-
inside, now. Because I asked you not to come out here and do this, and you're doing it. Go back inside.
So when that phone rang and Nora scrambled, hyperventilating to her purse, that struck me as somebody who's not just fucking with those people.
That you're absolutely right.
You know what I mean? Like
she wants
she's
to-
in.
So you think she just wanted it all to be over with? Does
She
she
thinks that she could potentially still be with her kids.
So you think that's what she thinks? You think that
Yeah.
she potentially believes what they're saying, and she doesn't believe that they're just vaporizing people.
I think the logical part of her brain tells her they're vaporizing people.
You know what?
But the sad part of her brain tells her, I'd almost rather be vaporized than carry on.
That's what I mean. Like, so instead of killing herself,
Let them do it for her.
let them do it for her.
Right.
Sad.
Right. He does.
But you know what? What do we look at? This whole fucking thing has been horribly sad.
Oh yeah,
You know,
of course.
so, like, yeah.
It's not like it's going to end on a happy note.
Right.
We know that Nora's going to end up alone with her bicycle and her pigeons, looking all messed up. Like all liver spots or whatever you want to call it. I guess. What if it's possible that? Well, we'll save
Sunspots
that.
from being in Australia, right?
That could be. Okay, that's a valid point. Kevin finally skims through the book, and then he's watching G'day Melbourne, and they mention the missing Kevins and say that it's been a month that Kevin Sr. has been missing. When was the last time he was on... Oh, so when he killed Chris Sunday was the last time he was on the grid.
Yeah. Okay. And then he went. Yeah.
He said he did... he had already done the ayahuasca... Or not ayahuasca, the God's tongue. No, he said he woke up on the other side of the island. What the fuck? I'm confused very much so on this now. Because when he got to Australia... No, that was when he got off the plane originally. So that was years ago. And he's been there doing the song line for a couple of years. So it wasn't that he'd just done the God's tongue. That was a while back. So when he last ran into the lady that he stole the information on Christopher Sunday from,
Right.
when he last ran into her at the house was when he was last on the grid. And they're saying a month from then is now.
So he's been at the...
He's been with Grace,
Yes,
or
for a month.
wandering, yeah.
And then... Yeah, because up until when Kevin and
Right.
Nora get to the island, get to Australia.
So this is when, and she mentions the other Kevin missing too. Now Evie, this is when he sees Evie on TV. He goes to find her, and then we see Nora with the baby test. Do you think that was a test? Do you think that was part of the thing?
The pregnancy test?
Yes. No. The test where the lady gave her the baby before she was going to get on the bus.
Do I think that was part of the test?
Yes. Do you think that was part of the device test?
Possibly. The first question that lady asked her was weird. Are you a mother?
Who? The lady
The
that walked up
baby.
with the baby?
Yeah.
She did?
I'm pretty sure that's the first question she asked her. She said, "Hey, excuse me, are you a mother?"
Oh, okay. Yeah, that is weird. But
then
I
she
don't remember
asked
if
her-
she answered yes or no on that, to be honest.
I think she did. Or no, maybe she didn't answer and she kind of just assumed it and still handed her. Like, who does that?
Again, I think it had to be part of the test. Although she was actually inside getting interviewed.
Or could it be made to seem so?
Right.
So
I
in
mean,
case
that's
she
a
ran
big
and followed her
it's a
in.
big convoluted thing if it is.
Right.
And it's like, okay, well, we need a manager. Well, what if she doesn't even come inside? Well, then the manager doesn't, he doesn't get paid then.
Well, no, I mean, like they were just like there wasn't a big elaborate business. There wasn't a lot of people around in there, wasn't it?
Right.
She walked into one room and they were by themselves in that
Pretty
one
much.
room. Or were they sitting in like a coffee shop? That's what it
Right.
was.
Right.
They were sitting in like a shop having their thing. So that very easily could have been part of the test.
Yeah.
To just have two extras there to do that?
Because
pull that off?
that begs the question then, what are they trying to ascertain? What are they trying to figure out
Because now,
via these tests?
okay, we had this discussion in the last podcast, I think.
Okay.
I think we were bringing up this episode. Now, that question has been asked twice.
We haven't gotten to them, but
Okay.
but we were very, very close to that.
Right, well, that's why I was just going to
Yeah,
move
so
on.
so that's fine.
Right.
To the actual when they get
Right,
to
so
when
this
she
is
gets
so
there.
the whole thing with the baby, can you
She
hold my
gives-
baby while I do the interview?
Yeah. She
is-
runs it in as soon as she has to get on the bus.
Right.
And gives it back and says, discrimination is illegal. I love the way she yelled that at the guy. That was fucking hilarious because it's
Right.
just like, I don't have time for this, but it's illegal. You can't do that.
Right.
Because, I mean, who would actually think, if I have a baby, they're not going to hire me? Is that a thing?
Well, okay. The only explanation for that would be, okay, are you a single mother? Because then
Right.
that could potentially interfere with
Scheduling.
yes,
like when
with
she
you
would have to be
being
there.
here.
Okay.
And then that might sound cold-hearted, but
Right.
if you're trying to run a business, that's
That's
something that you would have
fact-based,
to
though.
do.
Yeah,
It's
that's
fact-based.
fine.
You would have to, entertain that. So maybe you would not hire because they'd be like, listen, do you have reliable childcare that your child can go to when you need to be here?
Right.
Because like if you can't do that, then like you can't have this job because
Okay.
you need to be
Yeah,
here.
that makes
I would
sense.
understand that. Like I wouldn't, I wouldn't think that would be discrimination. It's just okay, and then so you have to hire this person because you interviewed them, so you don't get in trouble for discrimination.
No, but if
Like, it's just-
if there was a dude that came in just afterwards and got the job and had no better qualifications or better personality or anything, and he picked him simply because he doesn't have a kid, that's the discrimination part.
how do you prove that?
You don't. You can't really. That's
that's
one
all-
of the.
that's
That's
all-
why she would have. That's why
Right.
somebody could logically
Now, if
go.
he was
Here, please
grossly
take the baby."
underqualified than her, then yes. But if he had the same qualifications or whatever, and they hired him over her because she had as a single mom and could potentially have trouble with
I mean,
scheduling.
dude, they are fact-based.
Like I can't
things,
be like
but
I'm not like I
don't know.
I guess it's kind of shitty, but it's so it's also kind of shitty for this person to be like, okay, I have to hire her now, so I'm not in trouble for discrimination.
Right.
But then he's fucked over because she's never at work.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like it works both ways. I'm sorry. Like,
Oh
that's-
no,
yeah.
absolutely.
Okay, sorry.
But
That's
if
totally
she
off
were,
subject,
but if she were disabled, and he didn't hire her because she might be late to work. You know what I mean? For the exact same reasons, that's where the line blurs on the discrimination hiring part of it. I mean, who gives a fuck? I think that it's possible that it could have been genuine. However, who doesn't plan ahead for the interview? She had plenty of time before the interview to find somebody to watch the kid. And of all people, to give it to Nora just before she's getting on there?
No, I've heard, I've heard of things being like, well, hey, your application just came across my desk. We need you to come in and interview today.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like, so if she was in that kind of predicament where she was
So again,
supposed to be
random
home,
occurrence puts us in this exact predicament just before she's going to decide whether or not she wants to get incinerated, basically. Right. I don't know. That's crazy.
I think it definitely had something to do with those people.
Because they didn't seem like they knew anything about it. They didn't act like... They didn't do anything that gave away any... And I do have the translation. I do have the translation of the stuff that the lady said.
Okay.
In the other language when they were talking there.
Okay.
Okay, so we'll just get there.
That's the next scene, basically, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Well, no, the next scene is Kevin making his way to where Evie was.
Right.
And then he goes into that fucking amazingly graffitied alley. I want to go in that alley, man. Like, that would be some cool-ass pictures. I don't know. Everything. The garbage cans, like, it was all floor to ceiling, so to speak, graffitied. Fucking badass.
I didn't notice that.
So he corners her and asks what she wants, and he outright asks if Patty sent her. And then when the other dude's like, is there a problem? He's like, no, I'm fine. And then he's like, I'm talking to her. And he's like, oh, shit, you can see her?
Yeah.
Like, oh, that she's real. So that kind of fucked with his perception in terms of, oh, this isn't a Patty thing, maybe.
This is something different. It's entirely different. He was projecting Evie onto a fucking random person.
Right. So, psychotic break. It's gotta be. Like, everything was stressing out again in his life, as far as the Nora relationship and all that stuff. So I guess it sort of makes sense. Could that have been exactly what happened to Kevin Sr.? You know, that he got all stressed out with being the police chief and the sudden departure and blah, blah. I bet that would have brought a lot of shit towards the police.
I'm sorry but like, he didn't see people though, right? He was just hearing voices.
But he's hearing voices. That sounds like level 1. You know, maybe Kevin's level 2. You know, I get to also see the people that are talking to me.
Right.
Well, Nora makes it to the warehouse where they're playing Take On Me on the piano. That 80s song.
Okay.
You remember that song? Take On Me. Dr. Aiden and Dr. Becker, Dr. A and B. I don't know what the significance of that would be, but just noted. And then she shouted in another language. Okay, where did I write this?
Maybe that was just a scripting thing where they were like, we need these two people, we need Dr. A and Dr. B.
Right.
And then they just wait their
Aiden
names.
and Becker, yeah. She goes into a place that looks like the dry cleaning equivalent of Westworld. You know, when she walked down there to talk to the doctor.
Yeah.
Complete with Bernard doing the medical exam. I mean, come on. They walk her down into this room that's Westworld-like, and Bernard is sitting behind the desk.
The actual actor?
No, that was the guy's name.
Oh, I didn't know.
The character's name was Bernard, as was Bernard in Westworld. I just thought that's fucked up. That must have been an homage.
It probably was.
Yeah. So we see John and Laurie are still scamming, and that's where they draw the line at communicating with the departed, because they fucking can't. They can't look on Facebook for that kind of information. Kevin tells her about Evie, and so she lies to him about the photo just to keep going, to keep the delusion going.
Right.
Okay, back to Nora. She says she has an IUD, and she was easy to convince to get into the box. She hopped right in there. And that reminded me very much of the last scene of season 4 of Lost, the above head shot of the casket thing. Like, that felt very much like she was getting into a casket. Why with styrofoam piece or with packing foam? Are they going to mail her somewhere?
Yeah, it was comfy, I guess, or what? Yeah, I guess you could have had some blankets in there,
Right. And then they did the horn version of Take On Me. It was playing it with horns. It all led up to that final scene where they played the full version of the song. Okay. It's the equivalent of 8 Mile. You remember that shit? You remember when Eminem's sitting in the bus and you hear like the doom doom dun, 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 dun. You know, the beginnings of the song forming. Like they did that, and then by the end, it's the whole "Lose Yourself" song. I love that. I love musical things like that where they fucking ascend
This
up.
show is
and,
good at that too.
Yeah, escalating it until it's boom, full version. And holy shit, that full version when that came in. It's one of the more beautiful scenes I've seen on TV. That last scene with Nora in the hotel room.
Doing okay.
We'll get there. Anyway, we're almost there. So Kevin goes to the Dharma library to find Danya, and that's what I was saying when she says she knows him, but apparently that was just from Lori. So she coached her on what to say. I was like, or is she on her Bluetooth? She is wearing a headscarf, so you can't see.
Right.
She's just sitting there doing it, just like she's Googling Kevin. She says she feels sorry for Kevin, so she pretended. Lori's pulling some psychological bullshit so that he doesn't hurt himself. And she tells him that it's not Evie. And he says he doesn't understand what's happening. Do you remember that line being uttered before? And by whom? John. He says, I don't understand what's happening when Kevin lived.
Yeah.
After he shot him.
Okay.
So then he ended up with Lori. Is Kevin going to end up with Lori?
It kind of seems that way.
It seems like they are sort of meant for each other in a way that like she can heal him, or she can
deal with it.
Yeah, not heal, but you know what I mean. Yeah, I mean, I guess she just had to get her shit back together.
Talk him off the ledge, per se.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
So Lori accuses him of running away, then asks if him and Nora are okay, and then he drops the bombshell about the book. Meaning, I think it was just to point out that Lori doesn't know everything about John the same way she's implying Kevin doesn't know about Nora.
Right.
Because again, maybe they're not.
Did you say your boyfriend wrote a book about me or your husband?
Your husband.
Oh, so they're married.
Yeah, they got married.
Okay.
Well, no, he just said ask John about the book he wrote about me.
Yeah, okay, that's right.
But they are married because they mentioned it when for the party episode.
Right.
I think that was 2 or maybe it was 1. I'm not sure.
It might have been 1. Yeah, just because that's when he talks to Jill.
So Nora gets interviewed, and the foreign lady is shitty because she thinks Nora will get cold feet about using the device. And the translation is, she's not good enough. That's what she said to her. And then it was, what kind of medical examination? And then she said, oh, and then she shat herself. I don't know why. I mean, she was probably worried is what she meant. Like, it's probably just a translation thing.
Oh.
The lady then said something again after Nora asked what kind of medical examination. She goes, oh, and then she shat herself. And then the lady's like, what's your problem? And she goes, we're losing time. And then she goes, what did she say? Nora said. And then the lady says in another language, go on, explain. To Dr. A.
Like, go on, explain it to Nora?
Yeah, go on, explain it to her. Then she says, Dr. Becker thinks you have no intention of using the device. And she's like, what, did you find out about Kevin? And she's like, we know about Kevin and we're not worried. What do you think that meant?
That meant that they know she's not attached to him like that.
Oh, okay. They can see that he's not a problem in terms of something keeping her here.
Right.
Like, who else thought that it was? Oh, Mark Lynn Baker. When he was talking to her, he was like, oh, that won't be a problem. Oh, well, then I guess I'm just barking up the wrong tree then, huh? And she goes, yep. I'm just wasting my breath.
I was trying to explain the whole Mark Lynn Baker thing to Robert.
Okay.
He just wasn't getting it.
Wasn't getting what part of it?
The fact that I was like, dude, he played in a real show back in the late 80s.
Yeah.
Called Perfect Strangers.
Okay.
Inside of the Leftovers universe, he's playing himself. He's not playing a part like
he's not playing Cousin Larry. He's playing himself. Yeah.
He's playing
Mark Lynn Baker.
I could not think of his name when I was trying to explain to him, so that wasn't helping.
Right.
But like he's playing
the actor who played Cousin
in Stranger
Larry.
Things inside of the Leftovers, who faked his own departure
because the other 3 cast members were departed, and he felt left out. Yeah,
he
wasn't grasping the concept of that. It's not easy, to be fair,
because that whole thing started with the because he asked me about the names. He's like, dude, that was so weird. I was like, oh, dude, it's the Wu-Tang name generator. He was like, what?
Yeah, that's a spiraling conversation. So they ask her, 2 infant twins are born. One will grow up to cure cancer, but only if the other dies. She only has to nod to have the baby killed. So Nora asks, how will it be done? And they say, quick and painless. So she asks if they are her twins, and they're like, it's not relevant. She's like, it is if you want me to answer your fucking question. And then in her mind, she figures out the bus stop lady was a test. And then she seems to lie when she says she would nod.
What do you mean she seems to lie?
The way she said it, just the expression on her face seemed like she was lying. But it doesn't really matter. They tell her that's it at this point. So she says she would let the baby die. So there's 2 trains of thought on this. Maybe they just deny everyone to see how they handle it.
Okay.
For example, Judaism, you get rejected 3 times before you can join the faith.
Right.
So like maybe that's just part of it. They reject him. The last guy burned himself alive after a week.
Right.
So
Maybe
he
it
wasn't
is
a
a
good
test,
candidate
yeah.
per se.
Right.
Maybe if Nora survives for a little while, they'll call her back. Or are you supposed to ask a follow-up question like, how do we know which twin will cure cancer? You know, that seems less likely to me than this one. I think they're assessing if you still care about the world. You can't care about babies or cancer if you want to go through.
So what would the
It
right
wouldn't matter.
answer?
Don't care. Doesn't matter. Whatever.
Do what you think's best.
Yeah, I don't give a shit. That would be the answer. I don't fucking care about cancer or the world or whatever. It doesn't matter.
Huh.
Just a possibility. So then they basically, they're like, you're done. And she chases him out and they say this isn't for her. But she got fucking pissed when they rejected her. That was she acted the way a woman does when you get dumped out of nowhere.
Yeah.
It's like, I didn't see that. What? Like getting angry all of a sudden.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, sure. It gets all sarcastic almost
Yeah.
and like challenging. Like,
Right.
She was hurt by that. She really wanted to go through. I thought up until then that she fucking wanted to. She didn't want to do it. She just wanted to bust him, or just wanted to see what it was. or
She
something.
wanted to go through.
She really wants to fucking go. So she loves that.
Do you think? Okay.
Go on.
Do you think that she wanted to do that, or or was it that like those thoughts were even crossing her mind before Mark Lynn Baker called her and said
That she wanted to do what?
"Can you want to see your kids again?"
What do you mean?
Like, what would it like the thought of like killing herself or wanting to go? Like, do you
Did
think
she
that
want it
phone
to
call
be
changed
over?
her
Oh.
when he called her and said, "Do you want to see your kids again?" Do you think it was just like,
Oh shit! I forgot that could even be a possibility.
I didn't know that was possible.
Right.
Like now, it just changed your whole mindset from what you were going on.
Yes, and I think
Yeah.
that's why they're doing that is to. But I don't quite get the end game of it, obviously. But they're doing that to plant that seed of hope in you. And now that you've got that seed of hope, will it consume you fully? You know, and
Right.
it seems to have with Nora.
Yes.
Because she's so cold to Kevin.
And especially after that phone call,
Right.
you know.
Yeah, because the first phone call she answered it sort of quickly. Then this last one, she's scrambling for it.
Right. Well, the one that I'm talking about the original phone call when he called her.
Oh, when
And-
Marklyn Baker called.
Yeah.
Or no, when she had to go talk. Oh, yeah. That's right.
Didn't he say that to her on the phone?
Yes.
And then and then the conversation in the hotel room with
Right.
him would have so that would have really pushed her over the top. Like
Exactly.
There's
Even
kind
though
of
she seemed so like this isn't true when she was at the hotel. But I think she's doing a healthy skepticism thing just to kind of keep them from thinking that she's too into it. I don't know. I think she doesn't want to let them know how much she wants it.
right.
She really loves that tinfoil over the smoke alarm thing, huh?
What time is it?
It is 11:30.
All right.
She loves that tinfoil over the smoke alarm trick.
Yeah.
I mean, it seems like it would work, I guess.
I guess.
And so Kevin shows up, and she's ranting about the device people being a scam.
See how can you just have tinfoil in your bag like that?
Yeah, why not?
I guess so.
In your checked luggage, sure.
Yeah, it would seem like it would be weird though. Wouldn't you?
I mean, you could be gonna make sandwiches when you get there. You
True
know,
enough.
I don't know, whatever. She could just go buy it. at the store. It's not like she even had to bring it with her necessarily. She could have just picked it up in the lobby of the hotel.
Right.
So she asks Kevin what's wrong and says he can tell her anything. And he says he points out the last time that happened, he woke up handcuffed to a bed and she was gone. He doesn't want to tell Nora who he thinks he saw, and she's taunting him about wanting to be Jesus.
Right.
So then he burns the book. Could the book burning have coincided with the nuclear event? Like, is that even remotely possible?
To what end?
Oh, fuck, sorry. Spoiler alert for the beginning of episode 5. I don't know, just to show some connection between, like, him causing the apocalypse, you know what I mean, or some shit like that. I don't know, just a thought. Like, could that have been timed because it is night there, and it was daytime in the beginning of the next episode? I don't know, maybe it's nothing. So he says, we don't have to talk about it because we never fucking talk about anything. And she asks him why he didn't stop her from giving Lily away. She's sort of like... Why would he stop her, considering she left him in the time... Oh, no, I was thinking he was talking about... that she was saying, why didn't you stop me today? Like, from going to this thing, but he didn't know about it. So she was talking about Lily. Okay, I misunderstood that and went on this whole rant about it. About why would he be there for her, considering she left him in the time he needed her the most back in season 2. I think he's clearly onto her game of needing someone to feel sorry for her, and he's not playing along anymore.
Right.
And Nora's also having a similar effect on things around her that she keeps destroying, the same way that Garvey Sr. did last episode. Okay, so the way they fight is funny. I don't know why, it was just making me laugh. Like, she's just kind of... He says she never even asked him about Lily, and she fires back about him wanting a new baby. And he asks if she was worried she'd give that one away too. I think that was why I said it was funny. That made me fucking laugh, the way he said that. Oh, you afraid to give that one away too? Like, goddamn, this got personal real quick.
Right.
This is in that territory of can't take it back stuff.
Oh, yeah.
This is breakup stuff.
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
at the time, I was when I first watched it, I was just like, oh, they just had a fight. But like, this is absolutely the end of them.
As a couple, yes.
As a couple. Except, she's going to be pregnant. Let's see. So, if she had a kid, she would have to be okay. No one could feel sorry for her. How long before you move past the fact that you lost your kids? I mean, that's a little harsh there.
Yeah.
But the probably the worst line since I watched Jane die in Breaking Bad, when he says that to Jesse hatefully, was, "You should go be with them." When he says that about the kids.
Yeah.
I mean, damn. You should go be with them wherever the fuck they are, because they're not dead. So just go there then. Ugh.
Yeah, dirty.
The book is burning in the sink behind him. I don't know what that's supposed to imply. It just looked very cool.
Is there any possibility
that
like
this
where we saw Nora on the bike with the freckles and the gray hair is where everybody went?
I think we discussed that.
Yeah.
That it's possible.
Like, that could be the other side.
Right, and there's only 2% there.
She said, I'll see you on the other side. She told Kevin in the airport, I'll see you on the other side.
Right.
I don't know.
And you know what would be the best justice for that? If she went through and lost her baby on the way. No, they're not. We're never going to see where they went. Don't get your hopes up for that.
No.
Because that's what that would imply, that we saw where they went.
Right.
That they're just in a parallel universe, and they're not going to give that away. That would destroy the whole premise of the show, and that would destroy the ability to continue talking about it after it were over, having to speculate where the 2% went.
That would, yeah, because there would be
be a definitive answer, and I don't think we'll get that. But that's a good thought, that maybe that's where she ends up. But she was so sad there. If her kids were there, you would think she'd be okay. At least a little bit better than she looks there,
right,
with her pigeon lady shtick. Okay, let's see. So Kevin leaves and the fire alarm goes off, so she, of course, lights a cigarette and sits on the bed. Now, they tell him no taxis because of the explosion. The nuke? That's what
Well,
made
that
me
was
think
what
of
I
it.
was like. And we had seen that a nuke had gone off already.
No,
like that was the
beginning of the next episode.
Yeah.
Again, I'm very sorry for spoiling that over and over again. But what else could they be talking about? What explosion?
I think that's the explosion they're talking about.
Because all planes are all planes are grounded. Right, so he wouldn't be able to leave Australia because it was over the South Pacific or something that it happened, I thought. I don't know, just a thought. Maybe it did coincide with it. Maybe Kevin burning the book incited a nuclear event. Okay, so the two Kevins reunite after he saw him on TV, like Kevin saw Evie. And all flights are grounded. Kevin Sr. asks if Kevin is alone here, then takes him with him and Grace. But he's like, yes. So again, that was just confirmation him and Nora are done. Like, I can't imagine having a fight with Jen in Australia and then being like, yeah, we're done. And then walking away and then talking to somebody else, are you here alone? Yeah. You know what I mean? It's just like not worrying about getting everybody back, you know? Craziness. But then I like the way Kevin Sr. was like, this is Grace. Like he was introducing Kevin to Grace. The idea of Grace, not the name. Like, here, you can be happy again. And then Kevin Sr. said Jesus to Kevin when he saw him. It's like, Jesus! So Nora smokes as the lights shut off in the hotel room. 3 lights flickered behind her as if it was like her losing her 3 children again. Just a thought, you know.
Weird.
And because they wouldn't let her go through the machine. That's why. You know, like in her mind, that's the 3. So I guess the breakup was sort of inevitable, as last season they promised. Yeah, that's the whole they wouldn't lie to each other, and that's all they've been doing since that, including her IUD. Right. So he's talking about having a kid, and she's got something preventing it all to fucking together. Yeah. So Reddit stuff. There's something great about Kevin's craziness being the sole reason his father was able to find him. His dad saw him on TV, then calls the hotels in the area and the only reason his name was on the room because he was having issues with the TV, and the only reason he was on the TV was because of his hunt for Evie. Like, just this fucking long line of coincidence shit. If he didn't say Garvey to the guy on the phone, do you want me to add your name to the room so you can get all the amenities? Yeah, sure. His dad never would have found him at the hotel. And then when he called back again, the guy goes, sorry, Mr. Durst. Again, they said it.
Huh.
As if implying, you know, again, to hint towards the problems, the fact that they're not married. Kevin's crazy and needs someone like Lori to help him, and Nora's so heartbroken that she becomes cruel and heartless to Kevin. Somebody had a theory. Everyone that departed went into the Take On Me music video. You ever see that video?
Is that the one with the drawing?
Yeah, it's all drawings. Yeah, so everyone just went in there.
That's the world they live in now.
Right.
It's like a shaky line drawing.
Okay, and then the last thing, maybe Nora will have to choose to sacrifice the child that she's going to inevitably be carrying here to pass through, or keep the child and give up the hopes of being reunited with her family. Sacrifice of an infant is mentioned in Surah 81, the sign held by Evie on the TV.
Wow. See, I don't know, man.
And maybe Lori sacrificed a child
shit,
to push all this forward. Maybe they'll save their relationship. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off
I
there.
still don't think there's any... The show has proven to us again and again.
What?
There's no supernatural besides the departure.
Right. But she would still have to choose... Okay, if they decided to let her go through the machine or into the machine, she would have to then choose, because she'll know she's pregnant by then. You know,
right.
If they do, so she'll have to choose. Do I want to risk? Oh, dude, that's a risk to reward ratio there. I could either stay here with a child that I know will be here, and have with Kevin, or have Kevin's child,
or I could
risk. Maybe I'll see my other 3 kids again, who I've sort of gotten used to the idea of them being gone. It's been 7 years.
Right.
Do I want to risk that, or take the chance on this new child? And maybe she takes the chance on the new child and stays, and just stays in Australia, and then has a miscarriage or something, and that's why she ends up old and alone. it's a pretty damn bleak outcome, but I don't think anything happy is going to be the end game of this show.
No way, dude.
There's no fucking way, right?
No way. Like I said, like the more and more you think about Kevin's being a mass delusion, that's tragic in and of itself. All the shit you just talked about with Nora.
That is a great comparison to John Locke, and I mean it is Damon Lindelof. He wrote this episode.
Yeah,
Dude,
you know what? That wasn't even why I was thinking that way. You just the same writer. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, this was written by Lindelof.
Yes,
episode.
you're absolutely right. Like so, I mean, it would be as tragic, if not more tragic, than the story of John Locke.
Yeah. I mean, that last shot of fucking Nora in there with Take On Me now playing full volume, full song.
Yeah.
With the water dripping off her face as if to imply, you know, these are all the tears she has never been able to let out. You know, they're just flowing endlessly. And then it fades to black. I mean, beautiful fucking ending. The music added a lot to that because it was such an epic song, but like, I don't know. It's a song that seems upbeat and happy, but it's about two people that are having issues.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, I don't know the song that well, but...
Well, I mean, again, that was something somebody posted on Reddit, just talking about how that's kind of the vibe of that song is, should we take this on? Maybe not. You know, I don't know. So, I don't know, we'll be back to talk.
It fits their relationship.
Right, it works for this episode. They are, like you said, they're great at picking the music for these things.
Oh, yeah, dude, I mean, they're really good at it, yeah.
So we'll be back next week to talk about It's a Matt World.
Yeah.
Sorry again for any spoilers about that one. I'm assuming you've already seen it if you're watching this one. We're a couple weeks behind, so I figure it's not too bad. I haven't watched Beyond 5, so I won't be able to spoil 6 or 7 or 8, because the finale is this Sunday.
So it's just 8 episodes.
It's just 8 episodes, yeah. I don't know how they're going to wrap it up so quick, man. I don't know that there's going to be although Justin Theroux said that he was unbelievably happy with the ending.
So then it's got to be good, man. It'll be
good.
good.
It's going to be good. Yeah. Do you really think that the next show Damon Lindelof does after Lost isn't going to have the perfect ending just to shove it down people's faces that didn't understand the Lost ending being great? That they're just like, yeah, there's no way anybody's going to, because we told them outright, you'll never get the answer to the sudden departures. Right. So nobody's going to be going into it expecting that. Like they expected every answer spoon-fed to them at the end of Lost.
Right.
So, yeah, join us for the other shows. I do one with his wife, my sister, called Chronologically Lost. I do a show called Lost to Time, where me and my cousin go explore abandoned buildings that have been lost to time. And my daily vlog is Chronologically Joel, if you want to check that out. So, other than that, we'll be back next week because...
This is how to watch TV. All these memories in my mind. I'm still a secret lemonade drinker.